Welcome to America Reads Fun Learning Activities. We are college students who create learning activities for kids. Our fun activities focus on reading, writing, and math. Thank you for joining us to learn today. My name is Hannah. In today's video, we're going to be learning how to generate measurement data by measuring lengths using a ruler that has halves or 1/4 of an inch markings, and then we're going to learn how to plot that data onto a line plot where the horizontal scale is scaled appropriately according to the nearest inch, half inch, or 1/4 of an inch. Today, we're going to first learn how to measure a length using a ruler and measuring that length to the nearest inch, half of an inch, or 1/4 of an inch. Next, we're going to learn how to make and scale a line plot, which we're going to record all of the data of our measurements onto. Lastly, we're going to be playing our activity, which is measuring and plotting some measurements of flowers that we drew. Before we get started on our activity, let's gather our materials. All you're going to need for the simple math lesson will be blank sheets of paper, a ruler that has 1 inch markings, half inch markings, and 1/4 inch markings, and we're going to take a look at this a little later. You're also going to need some markers or some crayons or pens, anything to really color or draw with, and then a couple of objects around you to measure so we can practice how to use the ruler. Alright, now it's time for us to learn how to make, use, and interpret a line plot. So, a line plot is a simple graph that shows information or data along a straight line and records the data using X markings for each measurement. So, to start off to make a line plot, the first thing that you're going to need to do is you're just going to need to draw a straight line. So just grab a marker and a ruler and just draw a straight line on your piece of paper to start off. Awesome. So usually with these lines plot, I like to add 2 dashed lines to the ends to mark that this is not a number line, but it is a line plot. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is that you're going to want to put marks or dots for certain numbers or things that we are counting. So for measurements, we're working with measurements today. So we're going to make markings for measurements from 4 inches to 7 inches, with each measurement being recorded to the nearest inch. So you also have to take care to know what kind of scale you're using for your measurements. So right now I'm going to show you how to do it to the nearest inch, but your measurements could be to the nearest half inch or to the nearest 1/4 inch. So we're going to do it from 4 to 7. Awesome. So this is my 4 inch mark. This is my 5 inch mark. My 6 inch mark. And my 7 inch mark. Remember, a line plot is not a number line. So the distance between each marking does not have to be equal, because this does not represent 1 inch, and neither does this one. Next, you're going to have to look at the data that you collected for your measurements. And you're going to have to place an X marking above each measurement for the number of measurements that correspond to that length. For example, let's say that I measured the glue stick, for example, and let's say that it was 4 inches. So I have one measurement that's 4 inches. So I'm going to put an X marking here above 4. That tells me that I have one measurement that is 4 inches. So now let's look at the example measurements that we have. So let's say that we have 3 4-inch markings. We have 2 5-inch markings. We have 1 6-inch marking. And we have 6 7-inch markings. So these are all of our measurements for today. So now, after we recorded all of our measurements, and make sure when you're taking measurements of length, you always write them down so you don't forget, we're going to start putting them onto our line plot. So we said that we had 3 4-inch measurements. So let's put down X's over 4-inch measurements. So we already have one here. So that means we're going to put 2 more X's. There we go. And that is how you make a line plot. So after you make a line plot, we can look at it and interpret what is the most measurement that we have, which is that of 7 inches because it has the most X's, And what is the least measurement that we have? And that is of 6 inches because it only has 1 x. Great job! Now you know how to use a line plot. Great, now it's time for us to start on our activity. So for this activity, the first thing that you're going to want to do is to use your markers or your crayons. You can use your markers or your crayons to draw out different flowers. Awesome. So here are my 10 flowers. Now it's time for me to measure all of my 10 flowers and record my measurements. So you're going to take your ruler and you're going to place it on the flower just like this and measure to see how long it is. So I can see that this flower is 2.5 inches because it comes right at this marking. So right at this marking over here, so that is 2.5 inches. And make sure to always record your measurements. So we have 2.5 inches. So this is the first flower, done. And then you're going to just measure all of your other flowers and make sure to write down your measurements over here. Awesome. Now that we're done measuring all of our flowers, we're going to make a line plot and put all of the data measurements that we made onto it. Alright, now that we have all of our measurements, it's time for us to make our line plot. So, like we did in the first example, you're going to just take a ruler to make a straight line for your line plot. And then you're going to mark off the edge with dashed lines. So, looking at our data, we need to see what kind of markings do we need to make on our line plot. So we can see here that we have 9 different kinds of measurements. So we have a 1-inch measurement, a 1.25 inch, a 1.5 inch, a 1.75, a 2-inch, a 2.5 inch, and there are 9 different measurements. So let's put them all on our line plot. After making your markings, you have to label your markings with what kind of measurement it is. And you can see here in the end I added 2 more markings just because I want to show you how this data would represent if we have empty markings or data that is not present. So now it's time for us to take a different colored marker and go through our data and one by one start marking off the data onto our line plot. So now we are done putting all of the data of our measurements into our line plot. Now it's time to take a quick look at our line plot. So what is the most common measurement that we have? That's right, it's the 2-inch measurement. So a lot of our flowers measure 2 inches. What is our least common measurement? Well, for this measurement, it's either 1.75 or 2.5 or 1 inch. You can also say that 3-inch and 2.75 inches are not common as well because they have no x's at all. But I just added that so I can show you a line plot where sometimes some spaces are empty. You know what I mean? And there you have it. That is how you make a line plot, and you interpret it and then you put and record all of your data of your measurements into the line plot to represent the data. Thank you for learning with us today. We hope you come back to learn some more. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and we're going to be back with more videos. I hope today that you had a great understanding of what it means to generate measurements by measuring lengths using a ruler that measures to the nearest inch, half of an inch, or 1/4 of an inch, and then learning how to show and plot that data onto a line plot where the horizontal scale is marked off with the appropriate units of the nearest inch, half of an inch, or 1/4 of an inch. Thank you for watching this video. Bye!